hay from my basement. I'm not in the root cellar anymore because I got a win and a loss, but that's pretty much what's going on. I also was down in New Orleans over the weekend. I had to make some management changes, so I let my coach go. You can see him didn't handle it very well. So that went poorly. Um, I did give him $1 severance pay. The other thing I did was I found this. Apparently, there's a basketball team named New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans, and they sell merchandise. Very cool. I also found a new management book. P is for Pelicans. So let's talk about a little bit about Minneapolis. Ryan is their coach, general manager. It's got a nice team actually. Um, they've been playing pretty well, better than me, but that's not saying much. So let me talk a little bit about the city of Minneapolis. And these are a couple predictions revolving around football, particularly. But the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl before the Vikings win the Super Bowl. Hate to say it. That goes for you too, Chris, by the way. And then I just have two words about this one, and this will excite every Minnesota fan um, to a paroxysm of rage. Gary Anderson. For you younger guys, you can look that up. I say that a lot. I wonder if I'm old. Um, Most Minnesotans don't have the brain power to make new friends after age 12. They're all always hanging around with Gary from down the block or from kindergarten or wherever. And going back to just taking a couple shots at the Vikings here, um, Madden ranks players 1 through 20, 20 being the highest. The toughest player on the Minnesota Vikings is their long snapper. Now, granted, he did lose his finger and continue playing, but he's got a 20. Um, so, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to their players. I didn't have to go too far to find the criminal of the week. Adrian Peterson. That's spelled Tyreek Hill. Also, I found this charming quote from Adrian. He says he still disciplines his children with a tree branch, as you do. Um, I'm assuming there's a long line of women to have Adrian Peterson's baby. Of course, it's in Washington now, but my guess is they would all, when they bring Adrian Peterson back to put him into the Ring of Honor, all this will be forgotten or covered up. He also has my favorite future budding porn star, Gardner Minshew, who I have to say is doing pretty well for himself in Jacksonville. They've got a porn star and Big Dick Nick down there in Jacksonville and on Minnesota. I also had to go look up um, in Stefan's voluminous bylaws to see how many people you could actually have on the IR, because Minnesota has, or Minneapolis, excuse me, has 10 players on IR. Holy crap. Um, so, lastly, I did a little research. This was very intense. It involved some alcohol and some Google. And I have pretty much determined that the Minneapolis Millers, minor league baseball team, never played the New Orleans Pelicans minor league baseball team, ever. And they've been around, I mean, the Millers from 1902 to 1960, and the Pelicans still sort of exist in some format, apparently. And they've never played. So this will be our first meeting. And consequently, I have to do. Sometime I'm going to learn how this works. Pelicans by one.